After earning his Ph.D. in organizational psychology in 1990 from the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, Manchester, England, Dr. Gerard Puccio returned to Buffalo State College to assume the position of Associate Professor in the Center of Studies in Creativity. I say returned because Dr. Puccio had been a lecturer in creative studies and a coordinator in the Educational Opportunity Program at Buffalo State College during the mid to late 80s. In 1997, Dr. Puccio was named Director of the Center for Studies in Creativity. By that time, the center had become a department in the Faculty of Applied Science and Education, and it was our good fortune to welcome Dr. Puccio and his very capable staff to our faculty. At that time, Dr. Puccio was named chairperson of the Creative Studies Department, a unique academic department that offers the world's only Master of Science degree in creativity. A review of Dr. Puccio's curriculum vitae provides more than ample evidence of the astonishing accomplishments of this talented man. He has written more than 35 scholarly works that include 11 refereed journal articles, 16 book chapters, and 2 books. He has presented at over 40 national and international conferences, and Dr. Puccio has earned an international reputation as an expert in creativity research. Most recently, Dr. Puccio was featured speaker at the Université René Descartes, Paris 5, 2003 European Summer School Program. Dr. Puccio's research focus has been in the areas of organizational creativity, perceptions of creativity across cultures, and individual preferences for aspects of the creative process. His research has resulted in the creation of a self-report inventory called Foresight that identifies respondents' creative process preferences. The inventory is being used in organizations throughout the United States to help teams better manage creative efforts. Most definitely, Dr. Puccio is the personification of a teacher-scholar in the classroom. Buffalo State College is indeed fortunate to reap the benefit of his talent and expertise, and I am privileged to be able to work with Dr. Puccio as a colleague and a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Gerard Puccio.
Thank you. When Dean Lee invited me to do the speech today, I was unaware that I was to be roasted by our provost. I feel compelled to defend my academic record, but I won't go there. I'll simply point out that my academic advisor from my undergraduate days, Dr. Howard Reed, is in the audience, and he, I'm certain, can defend my honor. Howard, if you've forgotten my GPA, pick any number over 3.9, and I'm sure you'll be close. We're here today to celebrate the accomplishments of Buffalo State's best, and I congratulate each and every one of you. As I think of your accomplishments and the potential you possess for attaining ongoing success, I'm reminded of something a mentor said to me early on in my career. To whom much is given, much is expected. In the short period of time that I have with you, my hope is to inspire you to think about what is to come next. Yes, today is a day of celebration, and as a contemporary mantra goes, it is important to live in the moment. But I want to challenge you to think about your future. Specifically, I would like to share with you some principles that I hope will sustain you as you carry on this positive life trajectory. A colleague and I gleaned these principles from the research and scholarly literature in the field of our expertise, the study of creativity. What I share with you today are the recurring patterns that we found when we examined the qualities that seem to distinguish those individuals who were able to achieve extraordinary accomplishments. There are 4 principles I would like to share with you. The first, go big. Going big means having big dreams and ideas, setting a vision for yourself. There's an old saying that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. It is difficult to accomplish great things when you have no idea of what you wish to do. Our go-big dreams are what propel us forward in our lives. Without clear dreams, we have no compelling creative force urging us forward. John F. Kennedy eloquently articulated his vision for space exploration. Martin Luther King Jr. described a world without racial inequality. In response to the poverty caused by British rule and industrialism, Mohandas Gandhi envisioned home rule for India. Walt Disney accompanied his daughters to amusement parks and was often struck by the filthy and unfriendly atmosphere. He dreamed of a clean and well-organized amusement park that would entertain the entire family. At age 22, a late age to take up dance, Martha Graham was said to have found her destiny and went on to define modern dance. By pursuing a vision, you define for yourself what you want to do. And one of the critical ingredients necessary to bring about change in your life is to know exactly that which you wish to do. By establishing a clear vision, you create tension between where you are today and where you wish to be in the future. You can resolve this tension in two ways: either by making choices that move you closer to your vision, or by watering down your dreams so that they no longer stretch you in new directions. The second principle is suspend disbelief. If you're going to think big, you must be willing to suspend your disbelief. Often the very next thought that follows a big idea is a reason why it won't work. You must learn to manage your judgment so that it does not constrain your thinking. When I was an undergraduate, I remember seeing a poster that I will never forget. The saying on the poster was as follows: "Those who believe the sky is the limit have a limited imagination." Do not prematurely judge your ideas. If you do, you may discard an idea that in the long run may have merit. Managing your judgment also refers to being open-minded and willing to adjust your perspective. Perhaps the best way to illustrate this point is to share with you a Buddhist story. This is a story of a young merchant and his son. The merchant, a widower, loved his son dearly. One day, while the father was away conducting business, a gang of bandits came to his village. They broke into his home, kidnapped his little boy, and burned his house down. Upon returning home, the young merchant found the charred remains of a boy near where his house had been. In his suffering and confusion, he mistook the charred remains for his own son. He cried unceasingly, arranged to have the body cremated, and then day and night carried the ashes in a bag tied around his neck. A few months later, his son was able to escape and return to the village. At midnight, he knocked on the door of his father's rebuilt home. But the father, thinking that some mischievous boy was ridiculing him, refused to open the door. The boy knocked, and he knocked. But the father clung to his view that his son was dead. And eventually the boy gave up and went away. The Buddhists say that when we cling rigidly to our views, even if the truth comes to our door and knocks, we are likely not to let it in. When we learn to suspend disbelief, we open ourselves to new possibilities and to change. The third principle we call, don't just do it again and again. Great achievements do not come easily. A number of years ago, Tiger Woods was playing in a PGA golf tournament in Florida. It was Saturday, and he had just shot the low round of the day and put himself in contention to win the tournament on Sunday. Immediately after completing his round, Tiger headed directly to the practice range. When being interviewed later, a journalist had asked him, why after such a spectacular performance would you go out and practice? Tiger replied that he had missed a pitching wedge shot that day, and if he expected to win the Masters tournament in several weeks, he could not afford to miss that shot. Tiger went on to win that tournament, and shortly thereafter to win the Masters. In creativity research, there's a phenomenon that has come to be known as the 10-year rule. Essentially, this means that on average, it takes approximately 10 years of hard work and labor before individuals attain their first breakthrough achievement. Just as an aside, I've been at Buffalo State for 13 years now, so I'm expecting this breakthrough any moment now. During this time, some very important things happen. Namely, individuals test and refine their ideas. They pursue many options, discarding those that do not work. The best way to ensure that your ideas are to be accepted is to produce many ideas. Shakespeare, for example, wrote 154 sonnets and 37 plays. Not surprisingly, an assessment of Shakespeare's sonnets reveals that although many are recognized as exemplary works, others are of lesser quality. Failure also occurs during this time, but failure can be a great teacher. We only truly fail when we give up or we fail to learn from the situation. Thomas Edison was a model for how we can learn from failure. For instance, in searching for a filament for his light bulb, Edison and his colleagues tested more than 1,600 various materials, from fishing line to coconut fiber, before they found the one that would hold up to the 40-hour test in his laboratory. Once, in response to a colleague who was bemoaning the fact that several thousand experiments had resulted in failure, Edison said, "Failures? Not at all. We've learned several thousand things that don't work." It was this kind of attitude, what Franklin D. Roosevelt referred to as persistent experimentation, that led Edison to hold 1,093 patents, by far the world's record. The final principle we call live your life. Dr. Teresa Amabile of Harvard has conducted research that demonstrates that we do our best creative work when we are intrinsically engaged in what we do. One of the greatest life lessons in my life came while pursuing my PhD in England, and the lesson came from a groundskeeper who maintained the tennis courts at my doctoral supervisor's sports club. His name was Ron. I played tennis almost every Monday morning, and one day I decided I would tell Ron how much I enjoyed playing on his grass and clay tennis courts. Well, he just beamed with pride when I complimented him on the quality of his work. He went on for at least a half an hour describing all that he had to do to maintain his courts. I was struck by how much pride he took in his work. Here I was, a doctoral student, and this relatively uneducated groundskeeper had just taught me a great lesson. Didn't matter what occupation you pursued, what was truly important was to pursue what you loved. Find out what intrinsically motivates you and pursue those activities. Pursuing a life that someone else wants you to lead, or a life in which you chase extrinsic sources of reward, can become unfulfilling. You will have greater energy for those areas that you find intrinsically satisfying. I wish to close by sharing research conducted by pioneering creativity researcher and educational psychologist E. Paul Torrance. Torrance followed a group of research participants from elementary school through to young adulthood. He did this to identify the factors that enabled some to become distinguished. He summed up his research outcomes in the following manifesto. Don't be afraid to fall in love with something and to pursue it with intensity. Know, understand, take pride in, practice, develop, exploit, and enjoy your greatest strengths. Learn to free yourself from the expectations of others and to walk away from the games they impose on you. Free yourself to play your own game. Find a great teacher or a mentor who will help you. Don't waste energy trying to be well-rounded. Do what you love and can do well. Learn the skills of interdependence. As you go forward, I encourage you to go big, to suspend disbelief, to live your life, to perfect your craft through persistent experimentation. I thank you for listening to me. I thank Dean Lee for nominating me as your speaker, and the Honors Convocation Planning Committee for accepting his nomination. Again, I congratulate you and wish you every success in the future. Thank you.